Welcome back to the Daily Factor. Well, it's time for your market updates with PETRI Redingling-Huyys from Herenia Capital Advisors. PETRI, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I leave the floor to you.
Good afternoon. So thank you for having me, as always. Alrighty, so I guess our market performing a bit better today. We saw, I think, the first half of this week, Monday, Tuesday, I was a bit grumbly about how our market is underperforming our international peers. That seems to be changing a little bit today. So far, the top 40 index is up 0.6%. Resource 20 index up a solid 2%. Industrial 25 index still under some pressure. That's down around 0.4%. Financial 15 index bouncing back a little bit though. That's up around 0.5%. Looking at the precious metals and mining index, 3 1/3% higher. Thank you very much for coming. And then looking at the retailers index, which we know has been one of those sort of underperformers over the last couple of weeks or so, still is really, it is positive by about 1/3%, but still a bit lackluster, a bit wishy-washy, right? Nothing really to write home about. I think now that we know what the inflation numbers are, there's a few knock-on effects that might work out in retailers' favor, quite in a roundabout way. So I think we'll chat about that in just a second. Looking at international markets, most of the world also relatively positive, except for Europe, which is still relatively mixed. FTSE 100 index up 1/3%, but the German market and French market, the DAX and the CAC 40 index are both down in the region of 0.5% on the day. In the US, the S&P 500 is positive by 0.2%. Dow Jones Industrial Average has ticked up by 0.1%. The NASDAQ index is up 0.3%, and also just for a sort of interest's sake, for FYI notification, it is trading at an all-time record high. So markets in the US are, it's been like, I think we spoke about this, it's, in context, we've had this really rough end of last week, but, we're still close to the record highs. And, today we're making new record highs. So markets are still sort of enjoying the free money that that the US Fed is making available. In any case, in the commodity space, gold price is up around 0.9%, trading at $1,792.75 a fine ounce. Platinum price trading at $1,089.70 a fine ounce, which is up 1.9%. Palladium also adding around 2.5% today. Rhodium was down this morning, but the rest of the PGMs are looking up. Copper also up around 2.25%. So these things are all good sort of bullish notifications for the market. Energy prices, Brent crude oil price can't keep it down, man. Trading at $75.72 in London at the moment. That is up 1.2% on the day. West Texas Intermediate crude oil, which is of course the US counterpart, up 1.25% at $73.75 a barrel. In the world of the rand, the mighty ZAR is stronger by 0.7% against the dollar today, trading at 14.16 at the moment. 0.5% stronger versus the euro at 16.94, and about 1/3% stronger versus the pound at 19.82. And then also, I think cryptocurrencies, just to touch on it, it's been very topical. We all, I think, over the last couple of weeks, have seen, there's been quite a bit of bloodshed, I guess, in the crypto space. Bitcoin today, 15.75 or 15.75% higher, trading at 34,000. So, these things are wild and volatile. So if you insist that you must trade them, make sure that you don't take crazy outsized massive bets, right? This thing has swung $4,600 up and down, in either direction over the last 24 hours, right? So it's very, very wild.
PETRI, let's go to the announcement by Statistics South Africa earlier on today. Of course, consumer inflation having a bit of a rise, its highest levels in 30 months. April saw 4.4%. We saw May having 5.2%. Your reaction to it?
Look, I think, it's the headlines are sometimes deceiving. Highest in 30 months. Yes, that's true. But, the beginning of 2020, January, February 2020 was only just a little bit lower than what headline inflation it was now. And if you look at 2018, 2017, inflation was above that, above the region it is now for quite a long period during that. I mean, if you look at sort of early 2016, most of 2016, actually, inflation was above 6%, right? So contextually, during the COVID pandemic, inflation dropped to just above 2%, which was like historic lows. And it's somewhat, recovered in that sense. What this does, though, obviously, the Reserve Bank, the South African Reserve Bank at least, has a mandate to keep inflation between 3 and 6%. And obviously, they will adjust monetary policy in order to, however is necessary in order to accommodate that, right? So what this signals with inflation rising as much as it has is, okay, there's a couple of things that obviously that do bite that aren't necessarily in the basket, right? So it's not always very accurate for the man on the ground or the man on the street to look at the headline inflation number, because the lived experience is sometimes a bit different to to what the headline numbers say. For example, fuel prices increased 37%, right? After lockdown, the hard lockdown ended last year, fuel prices gone up by like a third, which is huge, right? So that makes a big difference for people who are reliant on public transport, for example. And for example, their sort of the basket of goods that they buy might be different to the basket of goods that the average person buys or the middle class person buys. So inflation is kind of relative to everyone. So yes, there are pockets where food inflation is something like 15% as well. So there are things that are slightly higher and above what is anticipated, and is going to put a little bit of pressure. But just looking at the headline number, it rose to 5.2% from 4.4%. So 5.2% is starting to approach the upper end of that sort of target range that the Reserve Bank has. And what this is going to lead to is interest rate hikes, right? So, and this is actually part of the reason why we're seeing the rand getting quite a bit stronger, because what this, it makes the rand, or it makes South Africa an attractive investment sort of destination for international players, simply because what they can do is they can borrow money for really, really cheap in the US, for example, or an emerging market somewhere, and come and invest it in South Africa and get a really great, interest rate on government bonds, for example. So that's probably going to lead to a stronger rand. Higher inflation is probably going to lead to a 25 basis point interest rate hike at the next sort of monetary policy meeting, which, I guess, I'm not the one making the decisions, but it's generally, how this stuff works, right? So we'll probably see that this leads to tightening monetary policy or higher interest rates, which probably leads to a stronger rand. So there are benefits to this. This does benefit, the local financials and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's not necessarily as bad, as what most people think. I think it's just also a good sign that at least the economy is starting to recover. There is some economic activity. It is concerning that fuel and energy prices are going up so much, but I don't think that there's much that we can do about that.
Yeah, well, we wait to see what Reserve Bank Governor Kganyago will make in the next monetary policy meeting. Petri, again, we say thank you so much, and we'll see you again, same time, same place tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You have a great day. Also, PETRI REDELINGHUYS from Herenya Capital Advisors giving us our daily market updates.